Now make it. You was waiting for me to sing that again, because you know that was an in the moment thing. So
sorry.
Oh hell no! My sweatpants is starting to rip, y'all.
Oh no. So yeah, what I was saying was shout out to Fuck Your Brand. I have my shirt on today. We went yesterday to support our good friend Cashito.
Yes, Cash.
This camera, whatever camera.
Yes.
We're so proud of you for, you know, having the store. We seen what are you doing? What are you doing? Was that for me to shut up?
No.
Oh, I didn't know.
I'm looking at my angles, y'all.
Yeah, I can't with her. But yeah, we're proud of you, Cash. Anik said she's gonna wear her stuff later, but
yeah, because we going out, because it's Joel's birthday today.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Joel.
birthday. So you know,
I love him so much.
So yeah, we're going to celebrate his birthday.
Yeah.
And
this was supposed to be my dinner outfit to go out to dinner.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, but since he don't want to do a dinner, I'm still gonna wear it.
Yeah,
I don't get to go out. So
it's cold outside, FYI. But you know, you'll be alright.
I'm getting in a cab, girl.
I'm not a cab. So we're just gonna get right into it, right?
Yo, she loves this corner, y'all. I swear.
And I'm over here staring at this. She should have never, you know.
I should never what?
No, I'm saying this, I would think, well, y'all can't see what I'm looking at, but.
Oh, because I have so I'm shooting with two cameras. I'm shooting with the phone and the Canon camera. So with the Canon camera, I could do like live shoot to see. So that's why she keep looking at herself.
Yeah, I'm like, hey.
I can't with you.
So we're going to get right into it, y'all. So we're going to start off with the Gucci Mane and Jeezy versus.
Yes. We could start off with that.
Get into it. So
it was good, but I'm not gonna lie, I was a little anxious while I was watching it because I was like, please don't let this go left.
Yeah, because we all were like, yo, they gonna start fighting, shooting, something is gonna happen.
Oh, Gucci came for war.
He did, and it was just so tacky because why wait when you're doing something professionally to do all of that extra nonsense that he did when you can catch Jeezy whenever you want? If it's that serious.
Well, according to the peoples, to the streets.
Not the streets.
Like, I knew that they had real beef, and it was deeper than some, like, diss track type of stuff, but I never knew the full details. So a lot of people were saying how, I don't know if first Gucci killed his friend, like had somebody kill his friend first, and then that's why Jeezy put out a hit on him. So it's like beef like that.
Right.
So I seen a lot of people on Twitter like, oh, y'all keep talking about how Gucci's behaving, but y'all would be the same way if somebody put a hit out on you. And you know, I get that, but then in the same token, I was just like, why would you put yourself in a room or in the same environment with somebody who tried to kill you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Stupid. Like, it's like,
he
why?
obviously did it for the money.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just think as adults, because they're older than us, like at a certain age, you have to know, you have to protect your peace. And you have to know, like, all right, I know that deep down inside, I still have issues with this person, or I still feel a way. I'm not even going to put myself around you like that.
Yeah, of course.
Because you could tell Jeezy, I mean, he on some grown man type shit, he's over it. Like he said, that was what, 15, 20 years ago? Like, I came here as an olive branch for the culture. But you could tell Gucci was still... Maybe he needed to hear that little speech. Because after that, I felt like he was...
Yeah, he simmered down. He changed his tune. I was talking to my cousin, and she said that Jeezy was on the Breakfast Club. And, you know, they brought it up. And he said that he's worked so hard on himself. And for him to just go down that road would literally just set him back completely. And it was just pointless. Like, we came to Verzuz to do something for the people. Let's focus on that. Like, I don't got time. He was like, you know, Jeezy how many years ago versus Jeezy now. Like, it's not the same person. Now, I'm granted, if it was Jeezy, like, when Jeezy was not working on himself, I'm sure shit would have hit the fan, you know? And he kept his composure. He really did keep his composure.
Especially the part he talked about digging up his friend. I was like, really, Gucci?
I was very impressed at Jeezy because I was just like,
that takes a lot of strength.
Yeah, and I was telling my cousin, I was like, that also goes to show you too, because a lot of people, they so quick to always talk about how, women are catty, women are petty, and look, 2 grown ass men, because Jeezy was taking shots too. He was taking some subtle shots, yeah. Subtle, y'all. He was taking some subtle shots at Gucci. Now, Gucci, obviously, he wasn't subtle about none of the shit that he was saying and doing, but that just goes to show you, like, you men can be catty, petty, unreasonable with each other, but women, we always get it because I guess gender-wise and whatever else, emotional creatures.
It's more feminine to be catty, I guess.
So we were talking about that because I was just like, that's crazy, because the vibe, like when Star and I were watching it, we were talking about how that shit was Brandy and Monica, like, times 100.
But the beef was just different because they were trying to kill each other.
Right. So it was just like
crazy.
Okay. So, and also, we were pissed because there were certain songs that they didn't play.
Yeah, especially on Jeezy and I feel like there were some songs that he didn't play.
There was a lot of songs.
Yeah. It is crazy because me and Jenny was talking about this because we were talking throughout the verses, and you could just tell, like, Jeezy is just on another level compared to Gucci. And besides the whole, like, beef thing, like, you could just tell, like, where his mind is at.
Yeah.
It's so different. And we talked about, because Gucci had mentioned, like, we should do a jury versus I got on 10 bands. And Jeezy's like, I own half of Atlanta. So it's like, it's different. And that's the thing with black people. Like, and I had told Jenny, I was like, that's what happens when you don't never have nothing. Because when you think about it, as black people, we always had to fight for something. Like, like, it was never like how white people are. It was just handed to them.
Yeah.
So it was like, now you finally get the jury, the money, you all flashy. And it's like, this stuff is not going to last. Like, get you some land. Get you, like, stuff like that. So just to see 2 black men, and it's just, you could do your little 10 bands outfits and all this other stuff, but my nigga, I own half of Atlanta. Right. And I'm like, that's a big flex.
That's the real investment.
Exactly. So we were just talking about that, like, black people wake up, like, all the designer shit, the jewelry, like, that shit, come on.
It's like, enough with it. It's crazy, right? Because you think about it in 2 ways. Because you think about how some people's mindset are, I never had this.
Yeah.
So when I get it, I want to flaunt it. Because there's white people that do that. White people flaunt their shit. So, when they got these big ass yachts or whatever it is, they flaunt their shit a lot. Now, there is a clear distinction between how people of color and, white folks flaunt it.
People of color, I feel like they do it so, like,
it's petty. It's it's out there, pettiness. Yeah,
and to show, like, I'm better than you. Like, that's how it comes off.
Yeah.
Like, like,
and, white people or any other race, when they flaunt, things that they have, it's more like, oh, look at my new hot car, or look at, this nice ring I bought, or blah, shit like that. It's not to get at somebody else, because their circle already is filled with wealthy, rich people. So they're not trying to one-up somebody else that they know has money to get the same shit.
And also, white people don't go on social media and show every single thing that they got. Like, every name brand shit that they have, all the jewelry. I only see it with the black culture, where it's like, let me show you my jewelry, all the diamonds and all this other stuff, and then when they get robbed, then they wonder why. Yeah. How many rappers be getting robbed off their chain? Because it's like, you keep flaunting the money that you have, all this stuff, so of course that's going to bring attention and people want to rob you. And I'm not saying that, you wanted this stuff and now do you have the means to get it? Yeah, do it. Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but I think that you should also kind of keep some of that stuff private to yourself. Like, you don't need to flaunt it. Yeah, it's like, it just, to me, it just comes off so corny. Like, I'm so tired of seeing people with the pictures with their watches and the money to their ear. It's like, it's corny now. Yeah. Like, how old are we now? How long are we going to be doing this shit?
I don't even think that matters, because grown ass men, grown ass women, they be doing the most. So it's just maturity. You know, there was a lot to be learned from the verses about maturity level and just how different two people can be, you know, mindset wise. Yeah. Because, you know, I'm sure there was a lot of people. We was cracking jokes and stuff, and we was saying dumb shit like, oh shit, like they about to do some crazy shit or whatever the case may be. You know, we obviously don't want to see, you know, things resort to that and get to that level, because it always has to be one person that's the bigger person at times.
It's true.
But, you know, I'm proud of Jeezy. I'm definitely disappointed in Gucci, because I feel like he's come a long way with a lot of things that have happened in his life. And, you know, it's not like Gucci, you know, was a struggling artist. Yeah. Like, he came out, he was always like, he was Gucci. Like, he was doing his shit. And, you know, he had his ups and downs. So, you know, I thought at least he would have just took a backseat to the insults and all that nonsense. Because at the end of the day, that's just not important. Like, I mean, it is important to, obviously, you know, there's serious allegations and shit. Yeah. Because that is serious. You know, that's some real life shit. So that's not something that can be ignored at all. And obviously was never ignored. But then again, don't put yourself in that situation. So that's why I'm like, I'm not going to condone his behavior. Like, me personally, if I'm not feeling you, I don't fuck with you, or I feel like you did something to harm me, I'm not going to be around you. Yeah. I'd rather not. Like, no thank you. So, and that's me as a 30-year-old. These niggas is older than me. You know what I mean? So, as people, we have a choice what we want to allow in our space or not. So if you felt like 15 years later you still wasn't over that shit, you still feel some way towards him, or just the look of him make you feel away and bring all that shit back, you shouldn't have did the verses. And I'm surprised that Swiss and Timbaland even switched it and put those two together knowing their beef. Because I mean, they're in the music industry, so they have to know what's going on. I don't know. I mean, somebody would have to ask them, like, why was this even something like approved? But I agree with everything you're saying, because I'm the same way too. If I don't like you, if I don't fuck with you, if you pretty much dead to me, I'm not saying like, oh, if, you know, a group of my friends that have, you know, because a lot of us have a lot of mutual friends, so it's not like, oh, if my friend over here has something where I know mad of my people is going to be there, and you know, this person pops up or this person is going to be there, I'm like, well, this person's going to be there, so I'm not going. Like, it depends. Yeah. It depends on the situation, the circumstance, like all that. There's so many factors that weigh into that. But generally speaking, for the most part, like, ain't no pulling teeth, yo, come, fuck it. You know, because it be the same people talking about, oh, you know, you mature, you grown, like, ignore that shit, blah, 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 da, da, da.
We went through a similar situation like that.
I've been in mass situations like that where I'm like, I'm good, like, I'm not going, or I'm not fucking with that, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, somebody telling you, like, oh, you good, don't worry, and then next thing you know, you have a situation like this with Gucci and Jeezy. I'm sure that same person I was telling the next person, like, nah, you good, is probably like, nah, fuck out of here. If that was me, like, I'll be fucking doing the most, blah, blah, blah. So people, like, that's another thing. A lot of people, they hypocritical in their way of thinking, and especially how, you know, a lot of people expected Jeezy to react. I didn't tune in to watch niggas shoot each other. That shit, or fight. That shit is...
It's enough of black men being killed. I don't need to see that between two black men.
Exactly.
Two kings, no.
I came here for the purpose of verses. They were late as fuck, so I wasn't happy about that.
Black people, I know I be late, so I'm not gonna talk too much shit. But an hour late,
like get it together.
Come on.
Y'all was in Magic City in the dressing room, so cut it out.
Do you think something probably happened prior to that?
I think it would have been the latest. I think it would have been out. I think it would have been out by now. Somebody would have mentioned or said something if that was But every verses, folks, is always late.
But an hour though? I don't think it's ever been an hour.
I don't know. I can't remember if anybody's been an hour, but I definitely know some people have been late where it's been like 8:30, like half an hour, and that's already too long. You know what I'm saying? If that shit start at 8, tell niggas that shit starts at 5.
Child, they need to bring it back to the beginning of verses when niggas was on live. Because I feel like niggas wasn't late like that until they started to do all this big production shit. And it's like, all right, come on.
That is true too, because the essence of how verses first began compared to now, it kind of like became a theatrical production.
Yeah, it's like
just get on each other's lives and do it. Like that was the whole point. Y'all still can't book. I mean, now that places are open, I guess they feel like, all right, we can go here, go there, but we don't need that. All we need, you know who started that shit? Teddy Riley. I blame it on Teddy Riley.
Yeah, so the tough.
He started that shit.
I will say that the live is better now that they're together, because obviously when they were in different places, the connections, the Wi-Fi, all that plays a part.
As rich as you are.
But Teddy Riley, he was the blame for it. I feel like since then, everything just started going downhill.
That nigga had a whole production.
Like, nigga, we don't need all of this.
Wherever the hell he, in his house. And from there, it's like, he set the bar.
He sure did.
So,
I'm like, what? Like, and that's when we were in the middle of a lockdown. And we had all these people. I'm just like, I can't.
I was like, Teddy, please. Please.
But I love the memes that came after it.
Oh, yeah, the memes to die for. Nah, the memes were good.
When I say Twitter, because somebody had tweeted this, it was like, Twitter is always lit when everybody is watching the same thing. When I say I was dying, like when we were watching the Jeezy and Gucci thing, I was fucking laughing.
Nah, let's see how long it takes for them to
Hennessy.
Sponsor us, Hennessy.
Sponsor us. We love Henny.
And what's the other one that we poured in there?
I made like a tequila punch for Joelle's birthday.
With Espolón.
Yes.
Tequila. So
you giving me real bougie vibes with the straw. And then you stirring it with the ice. And you got your feet kicked up.
Yo, I'm dead. This episode is brought to you by Anchor.
Yes, by Anchor.
So thank you to Anchor.
And we're now going to be on not only YouTube, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, but also Spotify, and is it Google Play too?
Yeah. Oh, you saw the email?
Yeah.
And Radio Public was one. So we out here, y'all.
We everywhere.
We gaining the momentum. We gaining traction out here. So make sure you click the link in the bio, the Anchor link, and it will take you to all streaming platforms. Okay.
Can I just say that I'm very proud that we made it to episode 23.
I mean, we record every damn week, so we was gonna make it regardless.
I'm just saying, like, compared to like the first podcast when it was all of us, it was like kind of hard to find like the scheduling, you know. And it's like to see us now, 23 episodes in, and this is not 23 episodes along with the For Who podcast.
Yeah, this is just ours.
23 of just me and Anik. So I'm proud. High five, girl.
High five, sis.
Because we was very dedicated about this damn podcast. We was like, we gonna make a podcast.
Yes, this is on my back.
It was your idea from the beginning to do the podcast. Remember, you was like, because we always talking shit in the living room.
Woe is me.
So I was like, I'm down.
I put my own foot in my fucking mouth.
Because I love chatting. But you like doing the podcast.
I do like doing the podcast. I love it. We talk about shit. It's therapeutic in its sense. So, I can't complain.
I'm happy.
All right. So what's on your agenda, Dart? Oh, tell the people... Because last week...
That's how I'm dancing.
Tell the people the amazing news.
Smoke out, what's it? Straight to the
Smoking a Zaza, then straight to the Mata.
Then hitting the cha-cha, right?
Hitting the cha-cha.
Hey, I passed my road test. Hey,
she passed her road test.
So, let me tell y'all. So, what was it? A few days before the road test, I'm like, yo, I gotta get this fucking parallel parking down. Like, I have to get this down because I am not failing. I have to pass the first go. So, I practiced with Joshua. And even for him, when he was doing the techniques, he was like, yo, what the hell is going on? All right, it's not just me. So, I had, drag Anik. And I was like, yeah, girl, we're gonna have to practice every day. I know she probably was over my fucking ass.
Nah.
But I was like, we gonna
have to go. I just be sitting there quiet. Or be like, don't do this. I was like, watch out for this. Give my little tips and suggestions.
But I was like, yeah, girl, we're going to have to do this. So, the day of, for some reason, surprisingly, like, I wasn't nervous. And it wasn't like, oh my God, my road test. It was just like, okay, my road test is today. Like, I was excited for it. And I think it's because when I got my permit, it was literally Valentine's Day. And obviously, COVID happened. So, it was just a long like stretch, and it's like I'm just over with it. I just want to get the license already. So I go to the school. I'm just gonna make this long story short. I go to the school, whatever, and we're in the car because the instructor, he drove. It was like 3 of us, and he was like, well, ask me any questions that you want to ask or whatever. And he know the story already, so I know she's probably like,
no,
but just to tell the people whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like,
viewers.
oh, like, I was like, how many people passed their first time or whatever? And he said that percentage-wise, 92, was it 90? I think 92% people failed their first time taking
I was in that 92.
Yeah, but he said 62% of that failed because of being anxious, nervous behind the wheel. So I'm like, 92 is a big-ass percentage of people.
Right, Joshua? 92.
Now, that's a lot. Not 30.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So I was just like, damn, 92? And it's funny because, I mean, anytime I would hear people talk about getting a license, I think I met maybe a few, probably on one hand, of people who said they passed their first time. Usually, like, even people in my family, they always said that they failed the first time and they would have to keep taking it. So I'm like, that sounds about right. So, we were asking him, like, is there any strict, like, instructors there? Like, not instructors, but inspectors or whatever, because that's what they call them, inspectors, whatever. So he was like, yeah, there's 2. He was like, we nicknamed them the Terminator because they're strict as hell and they're very anal about everything. So he's like, it's a Spanish guy, like an older Spanish guy, and then he was like, it's a lady. He didn't say her ethnicity or nothing. He just said it's a lady with blonde tips. He's like, yeah, I think she got blonde tips. I'm like, I hope I don't get her. So we pull up, and it was like this young black guy. So one of the girls, she was like, oh, is he like, he looks like he's very anal, like he looks like he's new. And he's like, yeah, he's a new guy. He's very by the book, so he will fail you for like the littlest things. So I'm like, all right, I hope I don't get him, because they literally, I mean, like when you're like on the line, so each inspector comes or whatever. So it wound up being this black lady. And she came off nice. I was like, okay, good. Because I was praying in the car, like, God, please give me a nice instructor so I could fucking pass. So I get her whatever. We get in the car. One, I couldn't even fucking put the window up. It was freezing that day. Because she was like, oh, COVID. And I'm just like, well, I'm anemic, and like the cold, I get cold really fast, and I want to be comfortable driving. So she's like, you could put it halfway. So I'm like, whatever. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let this change my energy. I'm going to keep going. So we was driving whatever, and I did the 20 miles per hour because that's what they told me. So when I was doing that, she was
and
like,
she got a heavy foot, y'all.
I do. I like to speed, but I was
speeding with that permit.
I was speeding because I definitely was doing 80 miles per hour when we were on the highway on the fast lane.
Fix it, Jesus.
But so I was doing 20.
She's like, how do you know? I could feel you, sis. So, I don't need to look at the speedometer to know. I could feel your ass.
Well, some of those cars be really tricky because they so smooth, so you don't know that you're going that fast until you look down.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
So I was like, oh shit, let me slow down because I got people in the car. So she was like, you could drive, and I was like, oh, they told me to do 20, and she's like, no, you could drive. So I'm like, all right, good. So I'm driving. I did good on like the turns or whatever. I'm like, because I could just hear Anik in my head, like, too wide. No, like, you know how you be doing that? So like I hear her. So like in my head, I'm like, all right, I gotta. Then the right away thing, like because at first I kind of tuned the lady out because she'll say like, oh, on this next light, make a turn.
Not tune her out while she's telling, give you instructions.
Well, in the part of like when she'll tell me that, like the next light, make a turn, a left or whatever. As soon as we get to that light, she'll be like, when it's safe to turn. That part I kind of tuned out because I was just focused on, all right, let me make sure, because I don't want to be paying attention, not paying attention to her, but like stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I know.
Driving is, it's a simultaneous thing.
That's true. So we get to the parking, right? So she was like, this car right here, pull up, park. I'm like, oh God. I was like, please just let me get this right. Child, my technique was really good, but I was too far from the curb. And I was like, that's it. I'm failing. Like, she's going to fail me. Because I put it in park, and, like, my heart just dropped. And I'm like, fuck, I think I failed. And she was like, she looked at the rear, like, the mirror. And she's like, you're a little too far. She was like, fix yourself. So I'm like, oh, shit, she's going to let me fix myself? But in my mind, because I already knew, like, the sheet or whatever, how they score, I'm like, she took 15 points off. So I fixed myself smoothly, and then she was like, all right, make a 3-point turn. She didn't make me do a U-turn at all.
Okay, that's good.
So I did the 3-point, and then we was driving, and when we was driving back, the whole time I was just like, fuck, I probably failed because of the damn parking. Like, I fucked up. Like, it just was on my mind. So we pulled up to the fire hydrant, and she was just like, once I put it in park, she's like, oh, finally somebody who knows how to drive. So I'm like, oh my God, did I pass?
Uh-huh.
So then that's when she printed out the paper, and she was like, what's your name? Like, confirming everything. And she's like, oh, your birthday just passed. So she's like, this is a good birthday gift. And I was like, yeah, you know, I wanted my license before 30, but COVID happened. Girl, I got so excited that I forgot to turn the engine off. The car was in park, but I forgot to turn the engine off. So when I got out the car, and I was like, thank you so much, thank you. She was like, you have to turn the engine off. And I was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, that's a part of the test. And in my head, I'm like, girl, you already gave me the slip now. So, like, what we gonna do? Like, so I was like, oh, I made some excuse. I was like, oh, I thought the next girl was coming. Because before I got in, the inspector was
quick
like,
on your feet.
You guys can continue. Like, you don't have to wait until 3 for the next girl. And she was like, no, it's still a part of the test. You have to turn the engine off. I'm like, girl, I got my paper. So when I went up to the guy, he's like, oh, how did you do? So I was like, he's like, congratulations. So he was like, how many points they took off? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, it tells you right here. Child, she only took off 5 points. So I kind of got like kind of a perfect score.
Yeah.
Because 0 would be perfect, but 5 is good. Yeah. Especially because I fucked up on the parking. So I was telling Nick, I was like, I think the reason why she didn't take off the 15 was probably because of my technique and how I did it. Like, I wasn't doing too much.
You knew how to park. You just was far from the curb.
Yeah, and then when I fixed myself, I didn't do too much. I just literally reversed and went in and then turned the wheel, and it was, like, perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy it was just 5 and not fucking 30. But I automatically was like, because, you know, people always say that, like, if you don't park well, you automatically fail. So that's why I was like...
Yeah, because it's a huge portion. But then, you know, a lot of factors go into that. Because it could, like you said, it could be too much maneuvering, too much turning the wheel. Yeah. You're not aligned properly. Like, there's so many things that go into it. So it's like, you know, aside from whatever technique you're taught, it could just be not looking enough. Because I told her, I was like, from the very beginning, I was like, listen, this is the first thing I'm going to tell you. When you take that test, you break your neck.
Yeah.
You break your neck and you look everywhere. So you look like you're paying attention to the road, the pedestrian. So you look attentive. Because when you're driving, you have to be that way. There's no, I'm just going to look straight. No, you have to look to your left, to your right, back, you know, to your back. You got to be very aware and very just like present when you're driving. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas be daydreaming when they driving and shit. Next thing you know, they end up in a ditch. So
and sometimes those mirrors, like firsthand, like when I would be pulling out, like for me, I have to, like, it's good to look back, like those blind spots, because you could look in the mirror and be like, oh no, car coming, and then next thing you know, a car is coming. So it's just good to look. Yeah. But plot twist. The lady who's the fucking inspector, she was actually the Terminator. She was the strictest one. And I was just like, I'm like, you lying. He's like, yeah. He's like, I didn't want to tell you because then you would be nervous. But she had a fucking hat on and her hair was tucked in. So that's why I didn't know that.
I wonder if she did that on purpose because she knows that
she's probably
the driving. Yeah, like that's her hair and people will point out like, this is her, this is her. Because I just find it really convenient and interesting that she tucked her hair inside her hat.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, and then he was like, oh, they're not here today, but she was standing there, so that's why I was like,
because he couldn't see the hair.
Yeah. I was like,
she probably did that shit on purpose. Like, nah, I don't want people to know this is me.
But she was so nice. Like, well, you could tell she's a hard ass, and you could tell.
Yeah.
But she was talking to me. I don't know if she was doing that to test me to see if I would get distracted. But I'm like, girl, I hear you, but I got fucking pass. So I'm gonna just be like, yeah, COVID, da da da.
Yeah.
So the whole time I was driving, I just heard a neek in my head. I'm not even gonna lie. You know when the pedestrians, when I had to turn and it was coming, I'm like,
yeah, because I be telling her, like, start the pedestrians. Like, girl, that's the most, that's an automatic fail right there. You gotta let them cross this. Don't be too thirsty to. And that's what I was like, once you have your license, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You want to hit that person? That's on you, sis. That's on you. But right now for the test, you gotta be as on point as possible.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, girl.
I'm part of. I had to give you your props. So she was like, oh, finally somebody who knows how to drive. I'm like, yeah, because Anik just been driving with me the whole time. Because you was the only one besides Joshua that one time. But I would just drag Anik with me. So...
You know, my girl, she said she wants to learn how to drive. And I was like, well, I could teach you, you know. And she's good. She's a very good driver.
Oh, thank you.
So, you know, I'm not surprised that... I was concerned because, you know, I did tell her I was a little concerned about the parking.
Yeah.
I was just like...
My parking, it was like some I would get good and then some I would just be...
And I was just like, you sure you ready? I was like, you gotta... The curb thing, because, you know, I told her, I was like, yo, don't pay attention to the car in front of you and back of you, because, you know, people park any type of way. Some people care about their cars, some people don't. So if you gauging it, you gotta look at those mirrors, because that's your indicator, your true indicator of how close, how far you are from the curb. Because niggas be, you know, and the night before she was parking and I was waiting. I was like, I'm just waiting to see if she gonna realize that this car is parked mad far from the fucking curb. And it's crazy because you were parking well, but because the car in front of you
was too far out.
Like, you were parking perfectly behind that car. But if that car was, you know, if the car was closer to the curb, it would have been perfect. Yeah. So it's like she was doing well, but she was like,
I was so busy doing the technique that I was just Liam.
And I'm just looking like, sis, come on.
And she told me in the car, she was like, you could adjust your mirrors. And I was like, I could, because remember when I told you the instructor told me that, and I was like, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to take that chance. So when I first did the parking, she was like, you could adjust your mirrors. And I was like, I can? She was like, yeah. I was like, I'm not going to do that because I don't know if this is a trick. But yeah, my parking, it was
well, now you have enough time to practice on the real streets of New York City.
Well, that's gonna be fucking Tuesday, because my mom, she's so fucking hyped that I got this license so I could be her chauffeur.
Yo, that's what they want us to get that shit for, just to be their chauffeur, girl.
I was just proud to get it because I know a lot of people who drive, and I just want to help. Like, I just don't want to be that friend that don't know how to drive. And because driving, like, now that I've been driving a little bit, it's like, this is a lot. Yeah. Especially when it's past an hour or two, your butt and everything. So it's like, I get it.
Your ankle, your foot, your knee. Yeah, it could be very strenuous on the body.
Yeah, and it's like, I can't really stretch like I want to. So it's like, once I'm there, it's like, that's
you stuck there in that position.
Unless I pull over somewhere. But for me, it was just like, I want to be able to help. Yeah. Because I couldn't. I was always on the passenger.
I think everybody, no matter whether you live in a huge city or obviously if you live in, rural America, you're going to need a license, because I'm sure you're not walking to the mart that's 30 miles away or 5, 10, whatever. But, I think it's just good to just have your license. And I just wish that people don't get stuck on the fact that, we live in New York City and who cares, I'm not getting in the car, just to have it.
That was me. Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie, that was me. I was crippled, because when people ask me, it's like, why you waited so long? I'm like, I was crippled because in my mind, I'm just like, all right, it's a city that never sleep. The train and buses are always running. So it's like, I'm not in a rush to get my license, because I could just hop in a cab, I could hop in a train, a bus. I have cousins or people I know who drive, so it wasn't I wasn't eager to get it. Yeah. I think if I lived in Queens, far out, I probably would have got it if I lived in Long Island. But just living in Harlem in the Bronx, it was like, okay. Yeah. But the fact that I want to move, it's like, no, this is important. Yeah. And now I'm getting older, I want to do road trips and to rent a car and drive. And it's like, I don't want to put all of that on my friends. Yeah. Well, especially when we was in France. I feel so bad. I was like, Anik, if you need to stop, let's stop. If we gotta take a nap, we could take a nap, girl.
Hell no, not on the side of the road in foreign country, 2 black girls.
You was driving 6 hours straight.
Yeah, it was. It was 7. It was 7. It was 7 hours.
And then we barely got sleep, so it was like, girl, I can't drive.
But that's the fucking airport's fault. But we'll save that for another time. Yeah. Why niggas ain't getting no fucking
But I
sleep.
felt bad because I was just like, yo, if you need to stop, let's stop. I'm very understanding with that. I'm never gonna be that person that's like, no, bitch, keep driving. It's like, no, that shit ain't no joke.
It's not. But she got a license, y'all. So,
too bad we're not going to Chicago, because I would be like, yes.
Yeah. well, we'll see. Based on everything. But so while let's start take over this one. So a few albums came out. So I finally heard the snippet via TikTok
of Megan's thing
of the shot that she took against her friend. So I'll let start because she listened to the Meg's album. I haven't listened to it yet. I don't know. For me, there's certain artists where I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to your album, and then there's certain artists where I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're more of a like, you come out with a single. If I'm bopping to it, okay, but listen to your album, nah. So
got you. I like Meg. I do. I don't know. For me, I want to support more like female rappers, you know. So I try to listen to different ones. I listen to like Ruby Rose and Megan, and there's other like female
Lotto.
artists.
I listened to her album. I liked it.
Like I supported Lotto. I want to just branch out because I feel like when we grew up, like the way rap was is a little bit different now. It has like a new sound. So I always was drawn to like male rappers. Like I used to listen to a lot of mixtapes back in like high school and like my early 20s and stuff. So I'm like, I want to support females.